Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Porcupine, brother and sister bears. I'm Adam Nutter. What's up? How's it going? Good. I hope so. I don't know. I'm not your dad. But you could come support me anyway. Support me any way you can. Come on, support Adam Nutter right here. Follow me at Adam Nutter on all the social media and stuff like that. Twitter, Instagram. All I really care about is Twitter, actually. Just go follow me on Twitter. Shows coming up. This is live. So this Saturday, Chalfont, right by Philly, like 40 minutes away from Philly, 30 minutes away from Philly. Chalfont, Pennsylvania. The Pop-In, our monthly show we do there. 2 shows, 7 and 9:30. Tickets still available for the first show. I think only like 5 left for the late show. So if you're coming, get those tickets now. Natalie Cuomo is going to be there. You guys all know her from Gas Digital and all that stuff. Droptent.com/events for tickets for that. And buy a shirt. Please buy a shirt. Go buy a shirt. Support me in my endeavors. Go buy a Porcupine shirt. You get your white shirts. You get your black shirts. You got your Disobey Your Local Nutter shirt with artwork from Top Lobster himself. Go get your shirts. Droptent.com/store. Oh, shit. I forgot the big place I wanted to mention I'm going to be. I forgot. April 30th, the end of this month. April 30th, up in New Hampshire. I'll be at the Shell. 8 p.m. coming out to that. Tickets available again for that. Droptent.com/events for that. So get them. It's the end of the month, April 30th. All right. Enough about me. Guys, my guest tonight, you know him, you love him. From the Blackbird podcast, give it up for my man, Mr. James Jenneman. How are you, sir?
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Adam, for having me on tonight. It's so I've seen you perform 3 times.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to talk about something other than your penis. Although, if that should happen to pop up, I'm happy to talk about it.
Hey, no promises. All right. It might come up, it might not. I don't know. I'm a comic. So my brain's always rattling around dicks. That's how it works.
I have a question. I have a question about that though. Why? Like maybe you don't know this because it's women and you don't understand women any more than anybody else. Sure. But why do chicks like dick jokes so much? I was amazed. So I was at this thing. It was you and Kyle Ruff and Robbie Bernstein and
in Texas.
Yeah, down in Lockhart. Yeah. It was a blast. But
you were there?
Yeah, I was.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I used to I don't know if I still do. Like Renegade University is kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah.
I worked for them for
a long
time. So we were at this thing and like it was mostly dudes. It was kind of a libertarian-ish thing. But there was like this group of maybe like 5 or 6 chicks sitting on the front row and just absolutely wrapped with you and Kyle especially do the dick jokes a lot. Like Robbie does too, but his is mostly political stuff. But they were loving it. They were just hanging on your every word and just cracking up, laughing harder than anybody else like in the possession of a dick in that audience. Do you have any insight on that? Like what's the sense of humor there?
I don't know, and it's we talked about that a little bit too. Like I've noticed, like listen, of course, dudes find dick jokes right funny. Like that's 101 growing up as a guy. They're like, look at his fucking dick. It's like whatever, like you know, it looks like a pencil, looks like a stapler, whatever. It's like a funny thing to talk about. So we all find that inherently funny, pretty much. And if you don't, you're a liar. Like
sure,
you know what I'm saying? Like you're lying. Like there's some part of you that does. Like, even if you're like I'm a judge or like I'm a serious guy and like no dick jokes, but like if someone's like, yo, dick looks like a fucking like Thanos, you might be like, there's a party that's like, okay, it's funny. Like it just is. Like it's who we are. I think with chicks, it's like they don't know what it's like, but they hear us talk about it all the time, right? I think it has to do with, so it's like they have an insight of what it might be like. So I think they're just hearing a very farcical version of what it's like to have a dick. So they think it's funny. I think that's what it is. I don't know. I could be way fucking wrong. But that's how we were trying to figure that out. I think it's what it is. It's like it's weird, like, oh, that's how it must really be. Like, that's crazy. And they find it funny, but it's really like, no, I'm fucking playing this up. Like, this isn't real.
Do straight guys appreciate like Amy Schumer's vagina jokes?
No one appreciates Amy Schumer's vagina. It's not fair to say to me, dude. It's not fair to me. No one finds her funny. How dare you? So there is a thing And I know like female comics be like, that's because you're sexist or whatever, but it's like, it's not as funny when chicks talk about their vagina. It's just not. And I think from a dude's perspective, subconsciously, well, straight guys anyway, right? Like straight guys are like, I fuck that hole. That's like my favorite plot. Like, why are you talking about it like that? Like, I don't want to hear it bleeding and like baby stuff. Like, so to us, we're like, no, that's meant for sex time only. Like, don't talk about it. I don't know.
What about women that say "suck my dick"?
I think that's awesome.
I do too. Those are the best.
Awesome.
Like, those are the best women in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right,
I
cool.
dig that. Yeah, I don't know.
I just
it's
completely hijacked your interview and turned it into my own interview.
Not at all. No, this is not an interview show. This is a hangout show. We don't interview here.
Good.
No, I interviewed Scott Horton because Scott Horton, you can't not interview Scott Horton.
Yeah.
He just goes.
Yeah.
He just fucking talks.
I had Horton on it was right after the election, and we were supposed to do like a Trump postmortem, but we did like a history lesson from Jimmy Carter up through George W. Bush and didn't talk about Trump for more than 10 seconds or so. I had not really honed my interviewing chops at that point, so I couldn't like steer him in the direction that I wanted to go.
You can't steer Scott.
You
Just
can't.
go, Scott, what do you think about the war? He's like, pick one. And you're like, I don't know, Iraq. And you're like, you got 2 hours? I told a story, but I'll tell it again. So I did comedy at the Delaware convention, and it was an hour and 45 minutes from my house. Okay. So Heist calls me as I'm leaving at like 5 o'clock. And he's like, yo, you on the way? I was like, yeah. I'm like, I'm literally in my driver's seat in my parking lot. Like, I'm about to pull out. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, Scott just got on. So I'm sure by the time you get here, like, we'll be eating dinner and shit. And then I'm sure you guys will go on. I'm like, all right, cool. We have plenty of time then. Hour 45 down. I get out. I have my one of my openers with me, Blaze. Get out. We're walking up. And he's like, what are they eating dinner? Like, I think so. Because, like, yeah, it took like an hour 45 to get here. And, like, as I'm saying that, I'm hearing a microphone go off. And I'm like, is that from inside? I'm like, oh, I guess they're just giving out like instructions or something like that. And I'm getting closer. I'm like, no, that sounds like a speech. And I'm getting closer. I'm like, is that fucking Scott Horton still? Like, dude, he spoke for 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think, or 2.5 hours, because I got there, he was still speaking, and then I was there for 20 extra minutes and he was still speaking. So he did like a 2.5 hour speech. And he had to say, last thing, I'll leave on this 17 times. So
yeah, of course,
Scott's an animal. Yeah, you can't like guide Scott.
All right, cool. So I grew up like just obsessed with stand-up and improv. So like I really admire what you do. And so like that's why I've seen you 3 times. Like I bought tickets to see you. It's insane. Like, and I've traveled. Not like I haven't traveled to see you, but like I've traveled to places and spent money to see stand up.
Yeah.
I actually just drove to Dallas to see John Mulaney because he's like my favorite comic.
Mulaney's very good, dude.
Although he went all political in this one. Like he talked about his intervention, which was hilarious. It was basically a roast of Nick Kroll.
Okay.
But then he just went straight political, and I mean, he's a Chicago progressive,
of course.
So anyway, that was a little disappointing, but it was a great show. I don't regret going or anything like that. But anyway, I'm really turning this into an interview. How did you get started? Like, how did you know you were going to be a comic?
Dude, I didn't. I mean, like, I always loved, like, I mean, I was just saying last night, like, I grew up listening to Opie and Anthony, right? And like shit like that.
Oh, sure.
So like, I was always like, oh, like Chris O'Neill, Jim Norton, like those guys. Like I grew up with those guys, listening to those guys every fucking day, like in the radio. And I was like, oh, I think I love this shit. Like, and like, I think I want to try this. And then at 18, I went to the fucking comic strip in New York, and I went to my very first open mic. That was it. Was like
Patrice O'Neill was the first comic I ever saw live. I had no idea who he was. Like I wanted to go to a comedy show. I finally like had the money, car, and time to do it. So I bought tickets. Me and my brother went and saw him. It was absolutely hilarious to hear. And like I didn't know that he was so admired. Like he was like a comics comic. To hear Dave Smith just like eulogize him still to this day, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, Dave knew him. I've met him twice. I met him once as right before I got into comedy, and once as like a brand new comic. And and he was my favorite comic of all time. He's a fucking goat, dude. Like in my opinion, like it's him, and then like Chappelle and Burr and like other guys. Like it's like he's first, man, and like he's a classic case of like I refuse to play the system.
Yeah.
So like I won't be as famous as I should be.
Yeah.
Because he was dude, there were stories of him. Go back and listen to unfortunately when he passed, Opie and Anthony had on all the comics the next day. And you could pull up on YouTube and listen to that shit, dude. It was great because there's stories of him how he was at a Comedy Central taping at some show and some executive was there and he just turns to the executive. He's like, why you stink? He's like, you suck at picking shows. He's like, you run this network. He's just trashing this executive of Comedy Central, to his he doesn't give a shit. And stories like that are reasons why people didn't know him as a household name because he just didn't do that shit. But he was the fucking best. Yeah. But yeah, comedy is great too because it's such a good outlet to just talk shit and express your dumb thoughts into the fucking world and be honestly, this just sounds fucking dumb and lame, but making people laugh is enjoyable. It does feel good. Yeah. I don't know. I know it's a lame thing to say, but it's a cool thing to do.
Well, and my partner's super funny. He could do stand up if he would sit down and just write a few minutes.
Try it.
Yeah, we've got open mics here in Minneapolis all over the place. The Acme Comedy Club is kind of legendary, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's an old school. It's been around for a bit. Yeah.
But yeah, we've even both of us, although I really only did it for him, entered the funniest person in Minneapolis contest, and then we both got COVID, so we had to skip it.
Maybe that was the universe being maybe you guys don't belong here.
Yeah, I know
what you're doing.
But yeah, no, I really hope because I don't know how to write jokes. I'm not a good writer. I'm just not very. It's not that I'm not creative, but I don't really I'm not good at chess either, and I feel like comedy is a little bit like chess, in that you kind of have to see where you're going a few moves ahead. Dude, in order to be really good at it.
I gotta show you right now what I was playing waiting for you.
No way. Yeah, of course. So
I was playing chess.
Yeah, I'm terrible at chess. And listening to Jeremy Kaufman on your show, the most recent episode that's posted on the podcast
before you,
talking about how we have to get from 2% to 5%. Justin Amash is great at getting from 30% to 50%. That kind of thing that would never even cross my mind. I'm just not a good strategist. I'm a pretty good tactician. I'm super curious, which makes me a pretty good interviewer.
Same. Yeah. I'm curious.
But thinking that far ahead is not really my strong suit. It's just not.
So, dude, first of all, I have brain trauma from fucking years of sports and car accidents and shit. So I have a hard time puzzle solving now, which is or scientifically or mathematically true. A doctor was you're done with puzzles. So I was okay, it doesn't sound too super scientific, but it's the doctor's you can't connect dots anymore. I'm all right. So I have puzzles jigsaw or anything like that. I'll be fuck. I hate it. I hate them. But with things like chess and stuff, I still realize even though that is kind of a puzzle, it's a game puzzle, I guess, or a working. I don't know, but it helps strengthen my brain a little more than it does hurt it. It's the opposite, I feel of a jigsaw puzzle, something like that. I don't know. So I feel chess definitely helps strengthen my fucking brain. But I also this is a weird, the whole thinking ahead thing, you were saying, planning ahead of time and stuff. And you're I'm not good at that. You know where I got a lot of that from? Video games as a kid.
Really? Okay. Well, my partner's a gamer too.
Yes.
In fact, he's not only a gamer, but he's a competitive melee player.
Oh, which, I'm not that's crazy.
That's super fast paced fighting game.
Yeah. Oh, I suck at fighting games. yeah. That's hard as fuck, dude.
That's like chess on a screen, really. I mean,
yeah. What? So okay, I'll give you an example of thinking super far ahead in a video game.
Yeah.
And why I like comedy and chess. And this is actually really interesting that you brought that up. I never really equated all those things but you're making a great point. I play this game called Hell Let Loose. Okay, it's a very realistic World War II first-person shooter, essentially. Okay, so it's not like Call of Duty where you're jumping around shooting. It's 2 shots, you're dead. No sights, no fucking. It's very realistic, and it's kind of enemy line versus enemy line, but the map is very big. So what I kind of discovered was I could, instead of just engaging head on with everybody else and just take a chance dying and waiting to respawn all that shit, I could just kind of run parallel, mad far, then up, and then parallel again, and get behind them. Which takes in that game 8 minutes of just running, without shooting or seeing it. It's actual 8 minute runtime. Where you're just sitting there running. But like that's me being like, oh, I'm just shooting for. I'll get like 20 kills before I get shot because I'm gonna be from behind them, and again, it's realistic. So it's like I could use one clip and kill like 20 guys, like one. So, but that's me thinking so far the fuck ahead when most people are like, I'm just gonna run to the objective and just fight, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go. I do that with a lot of things though. Like a lot of things, I'll think like I'll try to outthink. By the way, it's detrimental also. Like, I'll think myself too, but like I do that all the time. Like, so you don't do that? Like I guess I'm like the minority. I guess I don't know. I thought that was a normal thing. We're like, you just did you freeze? Son of a bitch. I think this is fucking shit hotel internet that he has. Now I have to vamp and just fucking talk. Damn it. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? tell me if he frozen your screen too. Let me know. And of course, Audrey's giving you compliments when you're not here and you're frozen. God damn it. James is one of my favorite people I met in Billsport. Looking forward to hanging in Reno. Yeah, you guys are going to Reno too. Fuck, man. I wanted to go so bad. So I was supposed to do. Yeah, he did, right? Okay. Well, he'll come back. I just got a vamp now. Yo, Josh, do you want the fucking StreamYard link and you want to fill in? For I know, Allison. I know. I got it. Josh, you want the StreamYard link? Or let's see. No, he'll probably come back. He'll probably come back. That's fine. But if he does in like 5 minutes, I'm gonna go to you. The Reno thing's a bummer because I was supposed to do there he is. I was supposed to do the fucking show with Dave and Robbie, and I can't. Hey.
Okay. Listen to me when I tell you this. If you ever listen to a podcast with maybe a comedian as the host, and that host is advertising a VPN, do not buy that VPN. And if you do buy that VPN, don't have it on when you're guesting on some other comedian's podcast.
Yeah, but that wasn't me. I didn't recommend have a host.
Yeah, while it protects your browsing history and all that other stuff, it also tends to just drop.
How much of what did you hear? Not.
I heard. Are you there? Did you drop? Oh shit.
Oh, okay. So then you heard the majority of it. So I was saying like, so you get like you don't do that. You don't like overthink like that. Like I thought it was like a normal. Fuck.
No, it probably is normal. Like I'm probably just an idiot, really. I mean,
I feel like. See, I don't know. I feel like it's not because if it was normal, then everyone in the game would be doing it. I feel
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, and there's a reason that like not everyone is Michael Heiss, and not everyone is you, and not everyone is me. I mean, like
exactly. Yeah.
I'm a pretty damn good interviewer. Like I
really,
I don't want to toot my own horn, but like that's one of my strong suits. I could not run a political action committee. Like Michael Heiss has a particular set of skills. And I also am not very good at Call of Duty type games. So whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing is like a lot of times people like, especially in the party, like, hey, you want to run for? I go, no.
The answer is no. Like I'll be behind,
no.
Yeah, I'll be behind the scenes. Like I will give you my best advice and I will make phone calls and go knock on doors and stuff for you, but I'm not going to be the face of the campaign.
No, I say this all the time. I go, Bucks County board rep is the furthest I'm going to be. Like that's the furthest I'm going to be in this fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to run for fucking Senate, mayor, but dude, like mayor would be funny. I think if I run for mayor, like Newtown Borough, which is like where I live, like that's a joke. It's like, it'd be kind of funny to be like, oh, fucking mayor of Newtown Borough, dude, it's crazy. But like, if you start running for serious shit, I have a theory, which is true probably, which we kind of all think is true, but they just have to really fuck with you. Like they'll start digging through your closet. You know what I'm saying? Like the opposing, like, and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
I mean, you got to worry about that inside the Libertarian Party. Like,
oh yeah, true that. Yeah, true that. Yeah. Which is a good point to bring up the Keystone thing.
Oh yeah. So I've been to 2 PA conventions. Thank God I don't have to go again. Because it's expensive. Getting to Pennsylvania is expensive. It's more expensive to fly there than it is to fly to Texas or Florida.
Really?
And I don't know why. Maybe it's just the time of year or something like that. Because it's been both times have been kind of in the spring, so maybe that's what it is. I don't really know. But
shout out from
Josh. Oh my God,
James is the best interview in the space. No offense to anyone else. I agree, but Josh, I will be banning you now because how dare you say that on my show? So
Josh is the best fiction writer.
He's the best nothing. Don't compliment him.
No, he's great. He's such a his book is so good though. Like
he's the best at goading me into fucking. I burned myself. Nobody fucking like. Hey, you hear about the dragon drink? And I went like, "What's dragon drink? Like dragging my balls in your face." I had to fall for that 100 fucking times on Twitter. It's so annoying. I always fall for it. He got to the point where he just boy cry wolf me now. I'm like, I don't even respond to you on Twitter anymore, Josh. I don't want to get insulted anymore.
He's also Canadian, so
that's true. It's a strike against him. He's Canadian.
I kind of have a why don't you put Audrey's comment up there?
I did. You were gone.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. I must have frozen. Is that Audrey from Philly?
DTOP. Yeah.
Great.
Hmm?
Yeah. Audrey,
Best.
you need to head to Minneapolis. Oh yeah, you're a Vikings fan though, so maybe I don't know, maybe in the fall. Anyway, we were talking.
Who's a Vikings fan? He's an Eagles fan.
Audrey.
No,
Audrey's a Vikings fan.
What?
Right, Audrey? Put it in the chat. Audrey,
No,
are you
Eagles.
a
I
Vikings fan?
think.
Oh, I think she left actually.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, so it's irrelevant. But I'd be sick to go see a fucking Vikings game though.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
cool
I've never been to a Vikings game. I'm not. They're football and hockey, like the cost to benefit ratio is just not big for me.
Dude,
I will go sit in the sun at a Twins game. Like I'll go to a doubleheader if I can get tickets. In fact, I do every time so I'm from Dallas originally. So anytime the Rangers are in town, I do go to the Twins versus Rangers game. And if I'm in Dallas, if I happen to be down there during baseball season, I usually try to catch a Ranger game when I'm there too.
So then you agree with me that hockey is the best live sport to go to?
Hockey. No, I think baseball and basketball beat hockey.
Baseball's so boring.
No, well, but you're sitting in the sun and you're getting drunk. That's my big thing. I'm not a big sports guy. Like I'll sit. Actually, football is super strategic, and I'll sit there and like watch them kind of do like their maneuvers and stuff like that, and wonder how they knew like what the best play was going to be. That's how dumb I am when it comes to that. my dad's the opposite. He was the head coach of like several football teams.
Oh,
I mean, little kid football teams.
Yeah.
But still, like they all went undefeated because he just knew how to call plays. Like I don't really know what the
no. That's like if you look at like I'm a football nerd. I played for a long time. I played full contact from like 11 to like 25 years old. I played like for a while. Yeah, I played for a while. Did you play in
college?
I was supposed. All right, so I got partially recruited to D2 New Haven. Okay, and then they had a money issue with the school, and they had to like suspend the team. And then I also got partially kind of like recruited to Iona, but by the time a New Haven thing dropped out, I went to Iona, and they were like, "Nah, too late. Like we're already too deep into camp, and like we don't need you now." I was like, "Fuck!"
Damn.
So I had to play semi-pro in Jersey, which sounds cooler than it is. It's not. it's just like adults playing football, pretty much in full pads. Like it's just not the same.
Okay, so hockey is great live
so far.
if you're up top in the arena.
Yes.
You got to see the entire ice. Otherwise you can't tell what the hell's going on.
I agree.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I think we're agreeing. I love going to minor league hockey.
Dude, yes. We have the Phantoms up in not too far from us.
I don't know if Dallas still does, but they used to have the Freeze, and we'd go there like several times a season because the tickets were like $10. I mean, it was a really cheap way to give kids something to enjoy in the winter.
Yeah, like hockey. You know what's great about hockey though? Like live, it's so fast paced. Like there's no stoppage. Like there's so little stoppage of play. Where you're like, oh, this is like action, and it's like $40 like for a ticket. I mean, not like at MSG. Like if you're like I'm a Rangers fan, so like if I want to go to MSG, I'm spending like $180. Like but like if you want to go to like a smaller market, dude, you could get fucking like go to where the Coyotes I think had to move to like a college arena because like they don't have. I think so. I think they play now at like a college, or I'm almost positive the Coyotes play like a college arena. It's sad, but like how cheap are those tickets? $15? Fuck yeah, it's awesome. Like for a professional sports team.
Minneapolis, of course, Minnesota is the state of hockey. Like they've got a big song that they sing at halftime and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I've been to a few. What is it? Wild? Is it? Yeah, the Timberwolves is basketball. Wild is hockey. That's right. That's how sportsy I am. I've been to a few of their games. They're a lot of fun. There's the fans, like the crowd really makes it for you because, I mean, everybody here is obsessed with hockey. Even like the high school hockey is televised. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's big. That's like how like high school football's in the South.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where it's like they'll show it on like ESPN 3 and 2 like on Friday night. And you're like, what are we doing? like Hoover High. You ever see that school in Alabama? Okay, you're old. You're old. How old are you? If you don't mind.
39.
Okay, I'm 35, so we're around the same age. So do you remember this show on MTV back in the day called Two-A-Days?
Probably.
It was like 2004 4, 5-ish around there, and
Okay.
it was a reality show, but it followed the kids at Hoover High School, and it's Hoover High, Alabama.
Okay.
And it was this guy by the name of Rush Probst was the head coach at the time, and they were like a fucking absolute powerhouse, like of a high school football team. Like, it was win state, like fucking. But it turns out like they had a massive like recruiting scandal, and the guy had left and like and all this shit. But like, yeah, they were like, it's like their arena was as big, or some of those schools they played at was as big as some low college, like some like D2 college schools. And you're like, that's fucking crazy. They could support that there. Like in Texas and shit, they could support a full like size stadium like that for high school.
It's nuts. My high school. So my high school was in like in a Catholic league when I was playing, but they're now UIL and they play. I mean, they go for state and everything. But we did. So now their stadium is insane. Like, it's got a press box and like real bleachers and stuff. It's just crazy. Back then it looked like
just like a
cut
pit.
rate. It's just a field with like some benches around it. But we used to play Odessa Permian, the team in Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights, yeah. So it was pretty interesting to see them come out.
Were they really good?
They did. We were especially like my freshman year, I think we won one game. Our head coach was a Cowboys cornerback, and it was his first time. His name's Robert Williams. And it was his first year ever coaching. And they just gave him the freshman football team because, like, hey, we've got a Dallas Cowboy, like, we better make him a head coach. Turned out he's not a very good head coach.
Yeah, it doesn't translate because you could play.
Yeah, so they made it. So after my year, he was just the DB's coach and did really well.
Of course,
we won state, but it was a league of only 4 teams, so it didn't really.
Yeah, dude. So like, some of those teams are fucking absolute powerhouses. But yeah, so if you want to talk about the Keystone thing.
Let's do it.
I'll gladly fill you in. So do you know anything about it?
I know that it is sort of the sour grapes, sore losers from the PA Libertarian Party split off and are now forming their own party? ?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Right.
That's it. So yeah, essentially Joe Slosky, who who thought he was going to be the for sure candidate for governor. The problem is when you call all the Mises caucuses cancers, they need to be cut out of the party. And when you fucking keep saying fucked up shit on social media, and then when you make stupid posts about like, he's posing with a gun, and it was right before the convention, and he's like waiting for the Mises caucus buses to show up, and like, which by the way, like, I understand it's sarcasm. He's not serious. Like, right? We all do. We have humor and nuance, but we were all like, oh, but that was us though. So you guys would be being like, you guys are threatening to kill us. Like, that's what you would say to us. Like, of course, right? So it's just the hypocrisy that bothers me. It's annoying. So he's, so he got noted at fucking. You were there. He got noted.
Yeah, I was there.
Fucking, at the fucking thing.
I got up and confronted him about the Facebook post.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. So, oh yeah, that's right. You did. So him and all of his cohorts got fucking, sour grapey. And even though I have them on my podcast, proof, most of them saying they'd stay with the party, even if they lost, they'd stay and help out because it's about the party that matters. They all left and went to the Keystone Party. And the interesting thing is, like, a bunch of people got phone calls from them.
Oh, really?
I did.
Like asking you to join the party or
for support, and as running mates with Joe.
Of course. So
I have a robo killer on my phone, so like I didn't get the live call. So I went right to the voicemail though was like, "I'm Joe Slosky." It was like this whole fucking thing. And like, he's like, "I'm a liberty-minded candidate."
Oh no,
because he can't say. Oh, no. So here's the catch though, because again, they called everybody.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, I don't know if they got volunteers who don't know anything that's going on with the inter-party drama, or they hired people. Because apparently, like, again, Mises guys got phone calls, and they were like, "Oh, who's running?" Like, playing, baiting them and being like, Joe Slosky, and they would be like, "Is he the libertarian candidate?" And they would be like, "I don't know. Someone on this team has to get back to you." So like, they wouldn't say yes.
Oh,
but because they don't know, I think these people don't know. It sounds like they hire people. I don't know though. I could be fucking. I'm just guessing here. I'm alluding. But I'm questioning how the fuck they got all of our numbers and shit.
I I'm sure they like. I mean, y'all have party registration. I'm sure that's some kind of party, like public record.
So
right?
yeah, but you gotta apparently there's like you gotta pay a shit ton of money to get the like and call like it's like a whole process behind that. It's not just as easy as like just looking it up. Also, automated and all the numbers like you're not gonna look up like single handedly just go in and like look up the like I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't know how, but it's weird. It's weird. I think it's weird if people who aren't registered got calls, and I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that happened, but like that would be weird. I think.
Yeah, either that or they stole the party
CRM,
directory, whatever it's called. Yeah, CRM.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
I mean,
anybody,
Jen, what's her face? The former chair. I mean, she's part of it, isn't she?
Oh yeah. No,
I'm
her,
sure
they're on it.
Yeah,
her, Steve Sheets. She had put out a Facebook post asking for people for help and stuff.
Yeah, she probably printed out all the records before she left.
Before she retweeted the Libertarian Defense Fund thing from the LPPA Twitter account before we could change passwords and stuff. We had to like unretweet it and stuff. Well, I'm not in charge of any of that, but I mean, we as like the collective we.
Yeah.
I
feel left out that I didn't get the Libertarian Defense Fund.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't. I did. I mean, a lot of people did, but a lot of people also didn't. I don't understand how that worked either. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. So fucking Jacob's chiming in.
Yes, I know.
Are you not, dude? I don't fucking
he's not,
know.
No, he's not Catholic. He's like he's like an evangelical Presbyterian-ish.
You know what, Jacob? How about this? I don't give a shit. How about that?
He's gonna yell at me for calling him Presbyterian too, because he's like a non liturgical Calvinist, which whatever.
You know what? This is my fault for trying to involve my friend. You know what? Fuck him. I'm not.
I'm just glad that I'm the only one who answered the question.
This is my fault. I'm trying to involve my buddy in a fun topic that I thought would be fun to talk about, and he hit me with the fucking. Could you believe this guy thinking I'm Catholic? You're a cunt. And honestly, this is why I fucking hate you. And everyone, if you're listening, go to Jacob Winograd's podcast and unsubscribe from it. Go to his.
Wait, no. Wait,
unsubscribe.
Wait 2 days. I'm on it tomorrow night.
Okay, watch Hit and then unsubscribe forever and block him from your life. He's trash. He shouldn't be a person. He's shitty. I hate him.
And he's also awesome, and we love him.
So, by the way, that's a good question I think I asked, because my wife is my wife's Catholic. You know what? I'm gonna get into that after this. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at with the whole Keystone Party thing now. So a bunch of the lolberts got mad, left, fucking rage quit, said they wouldn't, projected on us that we were gonna do that when we lost, even though we didn't. We just doubled down and sorted our efforts and made a stronger push to actually win. Everything they said we would do, they've done. They're trying to bankrupt the party on their way out. Like we don't have that much money in the PA party, because like our ex-ED demanded all of his money that we owed him, even though
Really?
yeah. So we're out. And then you see the Nationals trying to do the same thing.
We've got it baked into the ED's contract that like basically if he doesn't fundraise, then he doesn't get paid.
Well, don't forget, this was the old guard who made his contract.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So it's not like we made the contract. He doesn't with us anymore. We don't have an ED anymore. This was the old ED.
Dude, have you heard much about the Minnesota convention from a few weeks ago?
I heard it went well.
Well, it went well for Mises. It didn't go so well for the state party, I don't think. I feel almost guilty. So the Mises caucus, and I'm technically a state organizer. We kind of Dan Spons is not a libertarian comic.
No, he just busted my fuck you.
Anyway, so we treated it a little bit like we were a contentious state like PA, and so we went in with like our secret slate. We didn't tell anybody that we had a slate of delegates and officers and all that stuff. And so like people ran for delegate, and this is a lesson that I think other Mises states need to learn. Like if you're not a state that like has a lot of conflict, don't create it where it doesn't need to be. We like people felt like they were the butt of the joke. Like they went in thinking, hey, I'm going to get a fair shot at this office that I want to hold. Not knowing that 70% of the people in the room were Mises caucus, and we had already made our decision who was going to hold these offices. We didn't tell anybody. I let it slip to some people, but anyway. So like one girl who I absolutely adore had a just total meltdown, and she's black, so she took it a little bit personally that she thought maybe it was race based. She didn't really quite get that. the caucus just didn't endorse her. Another lady who's been in the party forever. She is just an activist. She's held like every office there is. She's been on our judicial committee. She used to run our hospitality suite at the convention, etc. She apparently cried for 2 hours in her room. It was just an absolute shit show, and it didn't need to be. And then to make matters worse, and I'm guilty of this, we've like a small handful of us voted for Noda for governor, because we thought that it would be better strategically to run a different statewide candidate for ballot access. And so that blew up. We ended up without a governor candidate. And then the guy who was running for governor, because of course we just assumed, well, yeah, you care about this party more than you care about anything else, so you can run for auditor or secretary of state or whatever. We didn't check with him beforehand. Like, we made so many mistakes, so many tactical and strategic errors that didn't need to be made. And so like, we're going to send a full delegation to Mises Caucus, or almost full, to Reno, but like, at what cost? Our party is kind of in shambles, which
I didn't know any of that. Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I just heard it was like, oh well, but I assume and yes, that's the thing. You made a good point. Like, for anyone listening to me who isn't PA based, like, you guys aren't like, we had to do that. Like, PA was a fucking shit show. Like, we actually had a legitimate purge. That had to be done. Like,
and we've got to do it at the national convention too.
Right. Like, legit bad faith actors. But yeah, if your state's cool, like, don't do that. Like, it's dumb. Like, you're just going to cause strife. Yeah.
We had maybe 2 Mises haters in our state, and now like everyone's a Mises hater.
I mean, PA obviously, but like for those who don't, like, it was literally like that. It was like, no, this, you got to go. You're just causing division. Like, this is bad. Like, that's what we were. So we had to do that. That's sad, I guess. Yeah, that's a bummer. You don't want that. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Now
so
we've
got damage control to do. I'm no longer on the state board, which is probably for the best, because I'm kind of a bomb thrower. But I have a feeling in a year we're gonna be in a better position. But right now we're kind of hurting, and it really kind of breaks my heart, because I'm really close with a lot of the people that like are not Mises Caucus and who were kind of left out of the planning and scheming and all that. Hell, I mean, Jay Nygaard, who was on Adam Kokash's, like, this whole thing where Adam Kokash is like all of a sudden front and center, it's because of what happened in Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah, because one of the governor candidates is a little unhinged. He's kind of like Adam Kokash. He's just kind of crazy, kind of narcissistic, but like a fantastic activist. And so he wanted the Mises endorsement. We didn't give it to him. We didn't endorse anybody for governor, and he saw that as like a personal attack against him. At first, he was calling it a Mises conspiracy, but then when it turned out that only 14 of us voted against him, like, it just turned out that he didn't get enough votes. But he still took it really personally, and like blew up the Kokesh side of things. And of course, now he's allying with Nick Sarwark, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Of course, yeah. Well, that sucks for you guys. That's a whole fucking thing you guys gotta do now. God damn, dude. That's definitely a bummer. Tell everybody about your fucking podcast. It's great. Now, we briefly talked about it before, but you do the Blackbird podcast, which I agree. You are a really good interviewer. I'm not just sucking your dick, but like, you are really good at interviewing.
This show is about your dick, Adam. No, blackbirdpodcasts.com is how you can find it. I just switched podcast hosts because I've been using Substack to host everything, and Substack kind of a hassle for podcasts. Like, their podcast hosting is still in beta.
What do you use now?
I switched to rss.com because they've got like podcast 2.0 technology. So if, once how podcasts are kind of like the last Wild West where nothing's censored.
So far.
Yeah. So podcast 2.0, according to Adam Curry, who was recently on the Tom Woods show talking about this, is sort of a protection against that. So I went with rss.com just because it was the cheapest one on the list.
Okay. We use Red Circle.
Yeah, Red Circle's good, and their little ad service is awesome.
That's how we make money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that everybody on your network?
No, you have to still, your show has to make a certain like cut of like listenerships. Only I think like 2 or 3 shows on our network are there. Mm-hmm. But not all of them. But they're working. I mean, it's not that much. Like, they'll build to it. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah. So yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So what it is an interview show. It's not a libertarian podcast, although I do have a lot of libertarians on. I've had everybody like this. My most recent guest was a sexologist named Carol Queen, who's just awesome. She's like a historian of transgenderism, basically, which is a really interesting topic in itself. So I've had her. I've had everybody from her, like on the very far like reaches of the sort of counterculture and leftist politics and stuff, to God, I forgot his name. He goes by a pen name. He's been canceled so many times that he has to keep changing his name. I think it's Jacob something. Anyway, him on like the far right, and kind of everybody in between, a whole bunch of libertarians and stuff like that. But I ask questions. I don't go in it with any kind of agenda. I just like to have a conversation, and that's that kind of.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like, I pretty much only have on people that I like so far. But even if I didn't, I necessarily, or not that I didn't like, but maybe if I had different opinions, I wouldn't necessarily push back on their opinion. I just want to hear them talk.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, I'm not here to combat you necessarily. Like, unless I'm doing like a straight up like debate. But if I'm not, and I just want to hear you talk, like I'm not owed anything to fucking push my thought on you or the guy, whoever I'm talking to. It's like, who gives a shit? I want to hear him.
Sorry. Sam Jacobs is the name of the right wing guy. I wish I remembered that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm not a huge fan of Dave Rubin, but his kind of style where he sort of emulates Larry King, where like you don't really know what his opinion is. I kind of like that. Like it just lets the other person kind of air their opinions and stuff.
Do you hate him because he's a more famous right wing gay than you? So you have to.
That's what it is. No, I don't know why I hate him so much, because like Jack Mason from the Perfume Nationalist podcast is just he's like I love him to death, and he's a more famous right wing gay than I am. He's more gay, more famous, and more right wing than I am.
Trifecta, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That's like the left's axis powers.
I hate that Dave Rubin uses his sexual orientation so often as like I'm gay, so you should also include me in your victim class, which like that's not a thing anymore.
It's like chill. It's like because you're just doing what the left does that we hate.
Yeah,
it's like you're just doing their thing. You're just doing their tactics.
He's kind of grown on me a little bit lately. I've been watching. He's been doing these like just sitting and talking to the camera type things. I kind of like those. I think it might be his interviews that I don't like, and I don't know why, because I try to emulate him, which.
Yeah, man, it's that's why I don't consider this show an interview show or a podcast, because it's like it's hard. It's a very unique talent, and I'm a comic with for sure ADD or something. So like I just like to talk to people and like throw out, like I definitely like certain questions I have for you or someone else I might want to get to, but like if it doesn't, it just goes where it goes. Like again, I've talked 3 days in a row about this Raven Soul thing because I'm fascinated by it. My wife just got home and she's gonna hear me talk about it again, and she's gonna be like, "Shut the fuck up about the Raven."
What's that?
the
soul thing that you asked on Twitter. Yeah. So what's the premise of your question?
So my wife's a Catholic school teacher. She's gonna be so mad that she just walked in the door and she's gonna hear me talk about this.
And she's a theology teacher too, right?
She's a theology teacher. Yeah. Okay. She knows her shit. Like she's pretty good.
Yeah,
like I mean, I don't really know. Actually, I could be wrong. I don't know. It sounds like she knows her shit, right? So, from my knowledge, I think she knows her shit. But sometimes I'll throw a question because I'm not religious necessarily like you or Catholic or like her, but I am Catholic technically. I was baptized, confirmed, went to Catholic high school, the whole nine.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily believe in a God. I believe in, I don't know what I believe in. I just don't know. So I like to throw questions at her sometimes, but like a little more like random questions that I wouldn't necessarily know from going to Catholic school. So I'm fascinated by animals, me, myself. And, her thing was, she always used to tell me, I remember I asked her once, I was like, how come animals don't go to heaven and hell? Like, why is that? Like, they're living creatures. What we are. Why do they, she's like, well, because they can't judge right from wrong. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, no, there has to be animals that there's a guideline for that, right? So I looked into it, and again, I love animals. So dolphins are the only other animal besides us that kill indiscriminately. They kill for sport, they kill for pleasure. There's no reason, like they'll just kill to kill. Two creatures, us and them. So I asked her that, and she's like, that's not a reason, because they don't morally necessarily know why they're doing that. Like they're killing for kill, but now they're like, fuck yeah, I killed that poor. But like that was her point. I was like, okay. So then I was like, there has to be an animal that's like a level above that. And then I was like, ravens. ravens are brilliant. But here's the thing about ravens is they're self-aware and they understand they have thought, and they even understand like water displacement, like how like water moves and stuff like that. And they hold funerals for their other dead fucking crows and shit.
Do they really?
Yeah, they'll teach their kids. If you were a dick to them, they'll remember you that you were a dick, and they'll fuck with you. And they'll also have babies, and they'll teach their babies that you were a dick, and those babies will fuck with you. On the inverse, if you were cool, that raven will reward you, and they'll teach your babies to bring you presents all the time. So that's pretty cool. So I think like all the fact that the bird's self-aware of itself and knows it has thought, like what more do you need for a spirit, for like a moral, like it that sounds like he understands what's right from that bird understands right from wrong, and it makes all these very informed decisions. So why isn't that like and then I don't know. And then she was like, no, because it's still not made in God's image. That was her, I think, final point.
That's what it is. So the difference between animals and plants actually and humans.
Did you not say that? Sorry. What'd you say? What'd you say? Right, but why don't they have a soul?
Here, yeah. So that's what we'll get into.
Okay, you don't have to curse at me.
Fucking said.
She's actually right. She did say that. She's actually right. Okay, you're right. You're right. My bad. So
one time in junior theology, my buddy Matt and I. So this is another high school story, but my buddy Matt and I were playing the penis game where you start out just whispering penis, and then you start saying it louder: penis, penis, penis. And like we said it enough that our theology teacher, Miss Elschlepp, who was the greatest teacher in the world, she just screams penis like as loud as she fucking could. Like you could hear it throughout the school to just kind of end the game. And so anyway, that's what your wife just reminded.
All right, so that's pretty much the answer then. Is that because a raven isn't serving God, so it doesn't count?
No. So the reason that a human soul, which is a spiritual soul, is different from, she did tell you, Josh, Josh Cebulski. What was I going to say about him? Oh yeah, he's Canadian. That's the other thing. Boo. He doesn't know anything about hockey.
Yeah, he's a Penguins fan or something.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, weird. What was I saying? So humans have spiritual souls, animals and plants have material souls. What that kind of means is that the animal and plant soul has kind of a unity to it. Like there's a reason that a tree doesn't decay when it's still a tree, but like if you cut off a log from the tree, then it does decay. That's the soul that keeps it intact. Same with an animal. With a spiritual soul, that soul can exist separate from the body. So that's the kind of theological breakdown of it, I guess. It's part of the essence of what it is to be human, to have a spiritual soul. And what that, in my opinion anyway, given that the spiritual soul is created in the image and likeness of God, that soul can exercise charity. It can exercise that agape love that God has, the sort of selfless, like love for love's sake, not love to get something else in return. So like the crow or the raven probably is teaching their kids in order to propagate their species. They're not teaching their kids to be good just for goodness sake.
Right. So
they're wanting to get something from it. That's the kind of difference between human spiritual soul and an animal material soul.
So it's not necessarily just thought. It just has to, okay. Because that could, I mean, even what you just like for propagating their species still implies they have awareness to be like, we need to keep this going like we do. That's what I'm saying. That's still super high intelligence level as opposed to our dogs who's downstairs right now, who we love way more than a bird. And that thing is pretty dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like comparatively, that's a dumb animal. And we're like, all dogs go to heaven. We're like, fuck ravens and shit. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird how like our relationship with animals are, I guess. It's like we use them, but like they're so important to us as a thing. I don't know. I'm just fascinated by the whole scope of that. And that's why I always ask her like religious questions like that. I always like try to go down those rabbit holes of like I asked her if cloning was cool, and she was like, "No." I was like, "All right, I don't know."
Yeah, well, cloning is cool. Cloning isn't cool for the same reason that birth control and gay sex aren't cool.
Right.
Like it goes against the unitive and procreative nature of marriage.
Said,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, am living in sin, or
Yeah,
the church
right.
is, or the church is wrong. But I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Moral theology makes sense. That's why I still would tell you that I'm a Catholic, because like, if anything makes sense, it's Catholic theology that makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, and like as I've gotten older too, like I for sure have, been like, oh, I get the unity, like the moralism more. Like I don't necessarily agree with like the
I know. If you've been
stories
listening,
behind it.
if
know
you've
what
been
I'm saying?
listening to Pete Quinones's show, you kind of well, I mean, he's been beating me over the head, but not literally, or
Yeah, of
even
course, yeah. No, but
like he's not like targeting me, but holy shit, like quit writing this stuff. It's kind of triggering me a little bit.
it's it's like that thing of like it's like, oh, I get why like religion is like could be good. Like I totally understand it, and like I think it's better than not being religious for sure. Like I think it's better for you and your brain. There's a fucking goddamn fly in here. I'm gonna get it eventually.
I was wondering what you were swatting at earlier.
That was it. I tried to get it 3 times. It keeps eluding me. It's so annoying, but I want to make a scene because I'm just trying to fucking like stealthily catch it like a fucking like Ralph Macchio. I'm failing. But like, what was I just fucking saying? Oh yeah, it's better. I think it's better to have some sort of religion in your life. I mean, depending on the religion, not some psychotic fucking like beat people religion or anything, but again, some sort of grounded religion in your life than it is over just being like, okay, I always make this comparison a lot. The left especially will mock God and religion a lot, right? Like they're like, that's, you guys are dumb for believing in whatever, like A, B, C, you're dumb. But their religion became the state and government, and they just blindly follow the government. And like, they won't see that as religion. Like that's their religion. It's very annoying. And again, I'd rather follow a guy in the clouds with the beard and throwing lightning bolts than the fucking state religion. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like it's excuse me. I went to the gym today, and
don't brag.
I feel so great. Like I've been going to the I've lost a couple of pounds this month. I've been intermittent fasting and going to the gym. I've got a personal trainer
every day
all that
except
stuff.
Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, it's great. I feel better. I feel hungry a lot, but like it's good. Like the payoff
goes away. How long have you been doing it?
Like a few weeks.
Oh, dude. Okay, not to cut you off, but I've been doing it for like, well, I did it for like 2 years, and I took like a year off. But I'm doing it again now, and the first 2-3 weeks, month is like, it goes away. Because you remember, this is every time you get hungry, look in the mirror and go, you're not gonna starve to death, pussy.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. Like,
and just move on with your day. Like
you can go like weeks without food. It's great.
Yeah.
So I sit there and I drink those little LaCroix, but like the Target brand LaCroix because I'm cheap. And that gets like some flavor in my mouth. But other than that, so anyway, I went to the gym today, and then I knew I was doing this, so I didn't have time to make dinner. So I went to Taco Bell for dinner. And now I'm drinking my Taco Bell drink. Why am I telling you this? Oh, because I burped. That's what it was. I burped, like I turned my head. So hopefully the mic didn't pick it up. I don't know if the Bible says this or if it's just a fucking praise and worship song, but the kind of cliche, I guess, is that we're like created to worship. It's like within our nature to worship something or someone or some entity. And whether it's biblical or not, and Jacob, if you're still here, you can tell me, whether it's biblical or not, it's like we are going to find some religion. And the way that I define religion, and this is kind of hokey and like pop theology, but you have 3 aspects that make a religion. It's a creed, a code, and a cult. The creed is like the we believe part. This is the doctrine. There's the code is like the morals. The we do this, we don't do this, and if we do what is proscribed or fail to do what is prescribed, then we have fallen short of the code. And then the cult is the rituals, the formal worship that we engage in. And so whether you're Catholic and your creed is, I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and your code is, the theology of the body and the natural law, and your cult is the liturgy. Or if you're a left-wing American Marxist and your creed is, woke political, activism, and your code is, don't use the N-word, don't use blackface, do raise your fist and do go to these protests. And your cult is the actual form of the protest, the taking of the knee, the raising of the fist, all of this stuff. You are, for the most part, there's people that are outliers, obviously. Not everybody falls into this, but for the most part, most people, and especially people who tend to be followers, and I tend to be a follower. We were just talking about that. I'm not a great strategist. I'm not a great leader, but I will fall in line behind a great leader, which is why it's so dangerous for me too, to have this sort of religious mentality, because, I could easily fall into the cult of Michael Heiss, which doesn't exist. But if it did,
They think it does.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to give anybody ammo, but I've even straight up said, I'll follow Michael Heiss anywhere he goes. And when I said that, I was like, holy shit, did I just say that? Because you don't want to say, I don't want to say that. What if Michael Heiss becomes Hitler?
Right. That'd be so funny.
Yeah. So
that'd be so funny though. I get you though. You don't want to just completely just commit to anybody. You just want to be your own kind of independent.
But most people are like that. Most people are not independent minded. That includes libertarians, probably even more so than completely apolitical people, especially apolitical people now, because everything is politicized. And this is what I love so much about my partner, who I keep bringing up, and I'm going to keep bringing him up on every podcast that I guest on, because I love this dude so much because he stays completely independent. He doesn't care about politics. He has his opinions and stuff, but he understands that it's a complete waste of time. And
yeah, he's right.
I totally love that.
Yeah.
What am I driving at? So he's sort of escaped this, what I believe is human nature, this sort of need to worship, this need to be a member of a religion, which he teases me because he thinks that I call everything a religion, and I kind of do, because kind of everything is a religious, like any collectivist mentality is sort of religious, and that applies to libertarianism as much as it does to Catholicism or Islam or anything else. And I feel like I've completely derailed this conversation, but
not at all. No, this is all the shit I'm interested in. This is why I fucking like talking about this shit. It's interesting. Yeah, it's cool. I like all those philosophical, religious questions, but again, it's the boring stuff. I'm whatever. I learned all that shit in school. I want to hear the weird, more, is esoteric the word I'm looking for here? Is that the word?
Yeah.
I think so, right? The more outlandish. I remember I asked my wife one time, I was like, okay, I heard angels aren't what we think they are. I heard the real look of an angel is something horrifying. It's a bunch of eyes wrapped around circles and shit, or whatever the fuck it is. And I'm like, why is that not ever taught? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's because kind of I don't know if this was your experience in Catholic school, but in my experience, our freshman theology was called Bible. That's all it was. It was just biblical theology. Pretty
much, yeah.
But we didn't open the Bible maybe more than 2 or 3 times. It was all taught out of a textbook, where we learned about how this is why the book of Genesis is unreliable as history. And okay, great, that's fine, but teach me that in biology class.
Right.
Theology class to learn about the Bible.
Dude, I think I went through 4 years of high school, and we never had to carry a Bible around ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
We had one. We had to freaking buy one. But we just never opened it. It was terrible. The spine's not even broken. I still have my high school Bible.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's wild, dude. Yeah. Again, well, though, I was a Catholic school teacher, and it's weird. They're trying to push that part out of the school. It's well, you get some liberal leadership, let's say, and then what happens? What's more important now? Oh, well, math is, or science is. Not so much,
and maybe they are. I don't know.
Of course, no. But here's my thing, dude. It's if you
have to raise.
It's a Catholic school, though.
There's a reason their parents sent them there,
right? It's hey, that's the thing. Everything else is second. I understand that. I understand in that aspect. Catholic school 1, then math, science, fucking biology, everything. It's of course, it's the only place it should be like that. You're going there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you get these liberal teachers coming in from California and the West Coast, and they're being we should just make religion whatever, extracurricular, and they were like, what? Fuck out of here! No.
Do they have mass once a month or something like that?
Hey Steph, how many times do you guys have mass? On the average. They used to have it every month. Now it's 3 to 4 times a year. So there you go.
Whoa. Wow.
So that's like a quarter. It's like every 3. What stuff? They say it's hard to get a priest. That's why they don't do it.
Oh,
Like
it
you
is.
said-
There's the. I
oh,
mean,
it really is. It really?
well, nobody's.
I like how this is so loud that you can just clearly hear her. Like that's how much is echoing. That's crazy how loud this is. Okay, so everyone's just leaving pretty much. Okay, well there's your answer.
Damn.
Don't say names. Don't say names. No, I'm not. I'm just saying don't say names because we're on a live pod. I don't want names getting out or anything. People are watching. That's why I'm saying that. So it's just like not a lot of. I guess this is hard to find priests. I guess also I bet you a lot of priests aren't even like going to seminary and stuff like that. I bet you it's just like a dying right. It's like a dying out job, right?
It's on the rise though. I mean, just like I mean, you've seen it on Twitter. Everybody's becoming Orthodox Christian. I mean, I do believe that we are entering a new spiritual age. Like,
what do you mean by entering a new spiritual age?
Like so Vinermani, of course, is the one who said it first. We're entering an age of magic. Was like the
that's such a douchey thing to say though.
Really, I know.
If you say we're entering an age of magic, I want to kick you.
Nobody
in the
knows what
teeth.
nobody knows
it's
what you're talking about.
Douchebag thing to say.
Yeah, it really everything he says is kind of a douchebag thing to say, but he's smart and insightful. And if you can get out of him what he actually is trying to say, then usually it is worth trying to get out of it. And so it appears, at least like from my high school's like alumni magazine and just anecdotally, that more and more people are discerning their vocation to the priesthood or to the diaconate or whatever, which I see that as a good thing. I think that there needs to be, I think that the Catholic Church needs to thrive, and I think it needs to like shed off the Marxism that has sort of just run rampant for the last half century, because it is one of the last bulwarks against the like encroaching, just radical secularism. Pope John Paul II was like one of the primary reasons that the Soviet Union fell, for instance. And without a very, very strong church like that, then it leaves the entire world in danger. And like the Libertarian Party can be something of like a little bit of the armor, but what we're engaged in right now is really a spiritual battle. I mean, when I say that, American progressivism is a religion, I don't mean that metaphorically. It really is.
I agree.
Like, they believe that they're in a spiritual battle. We need to understand that they believe that, and we need to understand that like that really is the case. And so when I say that we're entering a new spiritual age, echoing Vin Armani, who called it an age of magic, that's really what I mean. Like we're moving beyond the materialist modern age, characterized by the American founding, by the atom bomb, by Marxism, which is when Jordan Peterson says like neo-Marxist postmodernists, like that's not a thing. Marxism is inherently modernist. It is a materialistic ideology to its core.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and Jordan Peterson, on the other hand, is a pretty good postmodernist, ironically enough. But so we're entering this age where things have moved beyond the material. We have found that salvation is not in the material. We're not going to win anything using elections and bombs and commerce. I mean, anarcho-capitalism is a beautiful ideology and a pretty holistic one at that, but it's completely incomplete because it doesn't take into account the human aspect of everything. And humans are a duality. We've got our body and our material essence, but we also have this spiritual essence that has to be fed. Otherwise we're going to revolt. And that's what's happening right now. We're seeing the spiritual aspect of society just collectively revolting because we've tried this materialist thing. I like to say that Ayn Rand was sort of the beginning of the end for materialism. She was such an absurd, like, like caricature of the Enlightenment, which kind of started it. And that climb out of Ayn Randianism into whatever postmodernism is now kind of at its apex, and we're going to start going back downhill towards the spiritual side of it. And then, I mean, once we hit the bottom of that hill, which might be in 20 years, it might be in 200 years. I mean, the Enlightenment was a long time ago. Then we'll enter a new material age. Like it's a cyclical thing,
right?
It undulates. But
it's interesting to think about, and you're right, because like the more and more I look at around, and you're like, oh yeah, votes don't matter, elections don't matter, money doesn't really matter, buying doesn't matter. You're right, none of it matters, and it really is this underground. I almost feel like spiritual pendulum between these two sides, and we're fighting the good fight, but like without. It's like we all know we're fighting the fight without saying it. Almost, it's like this feeling we all have. It's
completely permeating everything. That's why the LP right now is in such conflict. Everything's in conflict.
Literally,
I mean, it's not like the LP is the only thing. Look at the Republican Party. You've got Liz Cheney versus Donald Trump. Like the materialists, like the warmongers, like Liz Cheney, the materialists, like the we have to try to win elections in the LP, which like you're not going to win elections. Just stop it.
I say that all the time, and I feel like a dick.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. We can win. It's mayor and shit, like city council. It's like we ain't winning governor. Sorry, right. Like it's not. Like I would
not
love
yet
to.
Anyway.
Right, it's not happening.
And in the Democratic Party, it's the same thing. I mean, the Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, sort of old school. The Democrats are kind of doing it a little bit more slowly. They're a lot more corrupt than the GOP and the Libertarian Party. They have political machines in place that will prolong their materialist phase. But the spiritualists, the AOCs and the squad types, they're gonna come. Eventually this machine is gonna die. I hope that this delay in the Democrats' inevitable shift into spiritual, and I say spiritual here loosely, obviously. It's not like they're meditating, but this sort of descent into spiritualism that's characterized by the people who are more moralistic than political. I hope that this delay gives us kind of right wingers, for want of a better term. I hope it gives us a little bit more of a runway, because obviously they're the ones in power, and we have to overcome that somehow. Because like they're moralists, they're spiritualists, are not exactly peaceful. They're going to start locking us up. They're going to start shooting us once it becomes clear that banning us from Twitter is not enough.
I agree, dude. That's a sad but good place to end, because I have to go do a stupid Q&A for candidate thing.
Like, well, tell me a joke.
With the Bucks XCOM. My life. 100%.
All right, cool. Adam, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, dude, James, thank you for coming on. Please plug away whatever you want to tell the people where they can find you and your great podcast and all that stuff.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at JamesLJ and blackbirdpodcast.com. Currently in a bit of a shambles because I'm switching hosts, but go there. All of my shows are posted. Tune in on Sunday mornings to my live streams. That's that.
Boom. James, thank you, sir. Don't leave. I'll say goodbye off air to you.
Okay, cool.
I better pull out. Everybody, thanks for tuning in as always. I gotta do more bullshit work. Okay.
Thanks,
love everybody. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media